Hello farms, my name is Precious, but my students call me Auntie P. Welcome to Sew with Auntie P. On today's tutorial, we'll be treating the basic skirt block. So these are the basic measurements we'll be needing for our skirt block. So we have the waist measurement, which is divided by waist measurement, which is 30 divided by 4, since it's a circumferential measurement, and that is giving us 7.5. And then we have the hip measurement, which is 40 divided by 4 is also a circumferential measurement, 30 divided by 4, which is 10. And then that's all the ones we need for division. Now we understand the measurement. Now let's start with our drafting. So first things first, we'll get our length measurements. We get the length, the skirt length. Now on our measurement here, the skirt length we are using is 25. So 25. Remember what I always say about marking your measurement at least 2 points so that you can get a straight line. So you mark your 25, 2 points, and then you connect the 2 points to get a straight line. So that's your skirt length. Another horizontal measurement that we need to take is our hip line. Now basic hip line is from 8 inches to 10 inches depending on the person's waist to hip measurement. Now some people have lower hip, so you tend to bring down their hip measurement, like you measure where their buttock is, they have their buttock is way down, while some people have it high. So to save yourself the stress, if you don't want to use basics, you can measure on the person. But if you don't measure on the person, the basic is between 8 and 10 inches depending on, some people are elongated from the waist down, while some people are longer from the waist up. So if the person is longer from the waist down, their hip line will definitely be longer. So basic is 8, but for today I will be using, for this tutorial I will be using 9 inches. So we'll measure 9 from the top of the paper, which is like our waistline. Measure the 9 in 2 places so that you can get a straight line. So now you connect the 2 together and get your straight line. So now this is your hip line, and this is your M line, because it's the down part of your pattern. The down part of your pattern. So now after getting our horizontal measurement, another one we need to get is, you can see your waist to knee here on the measurement. Now the waist to knee is to help you shape your skirt pattern. So the waist to knee 19 is definitely not on the knee measurement. Now it's usually about 3 inches above your waist to on top of your knee. Okay, so that's how you get your waist to knee measurement. This one is not on your knee, it is about 3 inches above your natural knee line. So you rule it, you get 2 points, and then you rule. And now this is your knee line. Now I have a bonus for you if you stick to the end of this class. So just stick around and I'll have something, a tip I want to give to you when you're drafting your basic skirt. Now, so we've gotten all our horizontal measurements. This is our waistline, the top of the paper is serving as our waistline. This is our hip line, and this is our waist to knee, which is measured from the waistline to about 3 inches above your natural knee line on top of your knee. And this, the M line, is the full skirt length. I hope we understand that. So now we have to insert our measurement. So waistline, come in by ½ inch, mark ½ inch from the edge of your pattern here, measure half inch. So that's the half inch I've marked here. Now after measuring the half inch, come and insert your waist measurements. Your waist measurement is what? 30 divided by 4, which is 7.5. Okay, so insert the 7.5. This is the mark. So after the 7.5, insert your 1 inch for that. So that will now give you 8.5. Okay, so this is the 1 inch for that. So after that, come to your hip line and insert your hip measurement. Your hip measurement is 40 divided by 4, which is 10. So you insert 10 inches here. Okay, which is 10. Insert your 10 inches there. Now come down to the knee measurement. Now on your knee measurement here, let me pull this up. On your knee measurement here, now you can, if you don't want your skirt to be tapered, to be shaped, you can just use the 10 from the hip line and measure 10 on the knee line, measure 10 on the hem, and connect a straight line. You still have your skirt. Okay, it's still going to come out great. But if you want your skirt to be shaped, to come out like a pencil skirt, to clinch to your body, like to follow the shape of your body, you subtract 1 inch or 1.5, depending on how close to you, like how curved in you want it to be. Always remember comfort. Comfort is the key word. Don't take it too much in that you will not be able to work. So you should be able to work between 1 inch. You can take out from 1 inch to 1.5 depending on your comfort. So now I'm just going to work with 1 inch. So we have 10 inches here on the hip line. I'm going to measure 9 inches on the knee line. The same 9 inches I have on the knee line, I am going to bring it to the hem line. So I'm going to measure 9 inches also on the hem line. Okay, now so it's time for us to connect. We've actually fixed all our measurements. It's time for us to connect. So now we'll connect the hem line to the knee line. Okay, because it's in a straight line. Now using your hip curve, I have the wooden one. Using your hip curve, you connect from, I hope you can see what I'm doing. Let me bring it so that you can see. Now you connect from, I'm sorry, you tend to hear a lot of airplane flying in my videos. I live very close to the airport, so there is literally no way I can avoid that. So we'll connect from the knee line to the hip line. Did you see that? Okay, so now, sorry, you come to connect the waist to the hip. I always like turning it this way because I feel the shape is more, it looks more like this, curvier at the hip than on the waist. So I connect, hey, I hope you can see this. I connect from the hip to the waist. Okay, so that is the side seam for our skirt. Now remember that I took out ½ inch on the center back of my skirt. Now I need to connect that part. To connect that part is just to follow the curve of the bum at the back. You know, our back is dipped in at the back length, so to follow the curve so that it will not just be straight and you won't have extra bulge or stuff at your center back, you now connect this ½ inch to the hip line in a straight line, in a slanted line. So after connecting this, we have our skirts. Okay, we have our skirts already, but something is missing which we need to insert, and that is our darts. So let me label this. This is our CB, our center back, and this is our side back. So now to insert the darts, To insert the dart, we need to use our bust points. So let's say our bust point here is 7. 7 divided by 2 will give us 3.5. So this, the 3.5, is what I'll be using to place my bust point. So now, placing my dart, let me use another color of marker for the darts. Now placing my darts, I'm going to measure my 3.5. Now my 3.5, I'm not measuring from it, I'm measuring my 3.5 from this edge. Do you understand? I'm measuring my 3.5 from this edge, not from this line. So I'll place my 3.5 here. I will come on the hip line, I will measure my 3.5 also, and then I would connect the 2 points together. Okay, now for my back dart, so this is just to enable me get my straight line. Doesn't mean my dart leg is going to be this long. Okay, please note. So for my back dart, I usually use 6.5 inches. I use between 6 inches to 6.5 inches. Okay, so I use between 6 inches to 6.5. So I'm going to be using 6 inches today. So I'll measure where my 6 inches stop on the dart leg, the middle dart leg. And then remember, I added 1 inch to the waistline for that. So I'm going to come here and I'll share the 1 inch into 2 on each side of the dart leg, half on each side. Okay, so I'll now link the side dart legs to the middle dart leg at the 6 inches points. Okay, so now this is my dart. So this is my waist dart, my skirt dart. Okay, so this is this for the back pattern. So now let's go to the front pattern. So now, moving to the front part of the skirt pattern, the first thing we are going to do is, you can literally just mark and extend your lines from the back. These horizontal lines, you can extend them, or if you want, you can rule them all afresh. So what I'm going to do is just mark extra one point on each line, and then rule it so that my line can be straight. I don't just want to assume. So first thing I'm measuring is my hip line, which is 9 inches, and then I'm going to measure my knee length, which is 19 inches, just as we used at the back pattern. And now my full skirt length, which is 25 inches. Please, if your pattern is folding like this, when you are measuring, try to stretch it. Please try to stretch it, okay, so that you don't measure something else and then get another thing by the time you are done. So after marking all those points, I'm just going to come in with my straight ruler and just connect the point from the back, that is extending from the back to the front. Okay, so I'm connecting the 2 points, and I'm extending it this way, and then the same thing with the hip line, M line, sorry. Okay, so I'm extending everything. Now I already have all my horizontal lines in place, so now I'm going back to insert my measurements. So now, starting from the waistline, now you can label so that you don't get confused. This is my waist, this is my hip, and this is my knee, and this is my M. This is my M line. So on the waistline, I'm going to come in. Our waist measurement is 30 divided by 4, which is 7.5. 7.5. I'll mark my 7.5, and then I'll add my 1 inch. Now that ½ inch that we used to contour the center back, we're not going to add it to the front, because The opening is coming at the back, and then the back is the one that has the buttock shape that we are contouring for. So after inserting my waist measurement divided by 4 plus 1 inch for that, so now I'm moving to my hip line. My hip measurement is 40 divided by 4, which is 10. I'll insert that, and then I come to my knee. The same thing I subtracted from the back, which is 1 inch. I'll subtract it from here. So on my knee length line, I'm marking 9, and on my M, I'm also marking 9. Okay, I'm also marking 9. So I'll come in and connect the lines. So I'm linking my M line to my knee line. Do you see it? In a straight line, and then I'll come in with the hip curve, and I'll connect. Let me move it so that you can see. I'll connect the hip measurement to the hip line to the knee line. Hope so that. Oh, she's a little bit off. Go back in. Okay, I'm having double lines. Okay, so this is why, assuming I was using a pencil, I would easily erase the first one because it shifted when I was about to connect the 2 lines. But since it's a marker, I'm stuck. I just have to know which one I'm using. Now, connecting the hip line to the waistline, I'm going to come in here, connect the waist to the hip line. Did you see that? Did you see that? So we have it all connected. So now the next thing to do now is to place our dart. So I picked up the red color marker so that I can insert the darts measurement. So now coming in, just like we did at the back, we are using 3.5 for our bust point. That's 7 divided by 2. So I'll mark my 3.5 here on the waistline. I'll come to the hip line, I'll mark 3.5, and then I'll come and I'll connect the 2 points together to get a straight line. Now the dart leg for the back, we used 6 inches. So for the front, I'll be using 5.5. Okay, I'll be using 5.5. So I measured my 5.5 from the waistline to on the dart leg. So now I'm going to, the 1 inch I added on the waistline for the dart, I'm going to bring it on the I'll share it into 2 by measuring half on each side of the dart leg, and then I'll connect it. I'll connect it. So this is my front waist dart. Okay, so that's my front waist dart. So labeling, this is my center front, which is on fold, don't forget, and this is my side front. Okay, so that's that for the skirt block. Now, there are some people that have hip dip. Now hip dip is a situation whereby like a part of the hip is like looking like it's dented. So if you do this for them, sometimes that's when you see that the upper part of the hip is usually not relaxed. So this is where the bonus comes in. So if you watched till this point, congratulations to you. So what I usually do is for people that I know has hip dip, because I have hip dip a little. So if I just make a pencil skirt like this and wear it, it doesn't really come out the way I want it until I eradicate the hip dip. So now come here, come to the waist to above the hip line, measure like 2 inches on the hip measurement on that side seam. After measuring, divide the line you have here into 2. So I have 7 inches, I'll divide into 2. I have 3.5. So the 3.5, I will come in by 1/4 of an inch. 1/4 of an inch. Too much 1/2 inch, but I don't think so. quarter of an inch is totally just fine. So what you do now is you come in here from the waistline, you connect, okay, to this point, okay, and then I'm turning the French curve again. I hope you're seeing what I'm doing. Then from this point, just make sure it blends, and then you connect it back again. So did you see? So instead of using this line, you'll be using this, will be your new line. So automatically doing this, you have eradicated hip dip. So it's going to follow, you see that part, it will just sit on the hip very well without having those excess gaps. So now repeat the same thing that I did at the front, at the back. Okay, so I'm just repeating the same thing I did on the side seam of the front on the back side. So the same thing you took out, the way you curved it, is the same way you apply it to the back. So that's just what I'm doing here. I hope you understand. So that's that for eradicating the hip dip. So when you're cutting out, you're cutting, this is the line you're following, and not, this is your new seam line and not this one. So I hope you learned one or two things from this video. Thanks for watching. If you learned anything from this video, please like this video, share, comment, and if you're new, please subscribe, turn on your notification bell so that you can be the first to know when we post new videos. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you and God bless you. If you have any questions, please drop in the comment section and I'll definitely get back to you. Until I see you again, stay happy and stay blessed.